Welcome to newspaper analysis session. So today's most of the newspaper is filled with the same accident. So we will be getting to see pain and sorrow state of many people that have lost lives in this accident. So we will get to see many unfortunate things. So most of the newspaper today is filled with the same thing. From the exam point of view, we do not have other things much from that aspect. So what are the areas that we are going to study for today? So we will try to study Forest Rights Act. There is something has happened on the Forest Rights Act. We need to see what are this Forest Rights Act, why this thing was introduced, and what is the significance of this act. Today you will try to understand this thing. It is a very important act. This has potential to be asked as an individual question in your GS2 governance, or it can be asked even in the GS1 society, because this is one of the famous act for the protection of the forest dwellers or even the tribal people. Okay, this is very important act. So today we will study about that. So black box, some of the factual information I have tried to provide, because black box is in the news. So with the aircraft accident, so what is this black box and all. So some factual relevant data which is important for the prelims that I have provided here. So we'll go through that thing, and then again another important article that we'll study here for today is about the oil palm cultivation that is happening in the Telangana. Okay, so we'll try to study something about that, and little bit progression is happening in the India-France relationships and India-China relationships, and we are going to talk various things. We are taking little bit steps in order to handle the rare earth elements. So if you see the elements that we have taken today, except these two, other articles already we have discussed. Majority of the things you are already aware. We have seen what has happened previously. So you are not completely new. So this is what happens when you study certain things. Okay, so we will try to revise some things while we are doing these articles, so that whoever the person is again watching the lectures, they'll also get to understand these things. Okay, so we will do it in that way. So we will start our thing with the Forest Rights Act. So what is why is it in the news regarding this Forest Rights Act? So primarily it is in the news. In order to implement this Forest Rights Act, central government has appointed some cells, or you can consider it as some kind of departments, in order to implement this Forest Rights Act properly. So what is this? Why they want to implement this act properly? What are the lacunae present in this implementation of the Forest Rights Act? For whom it was introduced? Why it was introduced? This you need to understand. So for this, we will go a little bit in a historical context. See here, who are the people that are living in this forest area along with the animals? Okay, you will also have the local people there. Okay, they are considered to be kind of forest dwellers. The people who are living in that area since ages. They are the one who are handling the forest, they are protecting the forest, they are living in harmony with the nature along with the animals. But once British came to rule India, they have made various restrictions. They have placed restrictions on the tribal forest dwellers or the tribal people there. So you will see in the history also various tribal revolts. You will study this topic in your mains, even in your prelims. So you will study various kinds of tribal revolts that are in the eastern India, northeastern India, western part of the India, all over the India. You will see various kinds of the tribal revolt movements. Same thing also happened in Andhra Pradesh. Alluri Sita Ramaraju, you might be knowing the famous personality about him from the Telugu states. Okay, so like this, there are restrictions imposed by the your British officials. Now, post-independence also, after independence, forest areas were declared as state property without proper inquiry into the existing rights, turning the legitimate rights into the encroachers. So we have also seen, after 42nd Amendment or after 1972, we started to focus on the environment. 1972, why 1972? 1972 was the first meeting where different group of people came together at the Stockholm, that we called as a Stockholm Conference. There they discussed there is a rising threat on the environment. We should protect the environment. So from there, even in India also, various measures or policies have taken to protect the environment. As per these provisions, we have introduced the Forest Conservation Act 1980. The 1980. This is also in the news. We will see that someday. Recently it got amended. So Forest Conservation Act, Wildlife Protection Act, these were the changes that are introduced. Both of these acts are very, very important. both for the prelims as well as the mains. This Forest Conservation Act is much more important for the upcoming mains thing. Okay, it is in the news few months back, 6 months back, 4 months back. Okay, so it is very important. We'll see that later. Now, currently we are studying about the not Forest Conservation Act, Forest Rights Act. Okay, it is about the people who are living there. It is not about the conservation of the forest. We are talking about the people who are living there. With these acts, we focused on the protection of the environment. So we denied people their rights in those forests because we want to protect the forest. Traditionally, whoever the people living there, they used to do the grazing. They used to sell the minor forest produce. In the forest, you will get various items, right? You will get rubber, honey, okay, or medicinal property plants or anything, neem. So they used to sell these things and they used to get the money. And they also used to do the grazing. Okay, their animals. Okay, they used to graze in the grass present in the forest areas, or for the requirement of the hunting purposes and all. Okay, they also used to hunt in a limited manner as per their understanding. They used to do the slash burning also. They used to burn some amount of forest area, and they also used to go for the agriculture activities. Now, realizing that this is causing the threat to the environment, government has imposed the restrictions in the forest areas. But this is also affecting the rights of the people who are living there. So we need to find a right balance between the local people who are living there and also protection of the environment. So that's why new act has been introduced. Now you said, as per the Forest Rights Act, Wildlife Protection Act, you are saying no tribal people can do this thing. Grazing is not allowed. Minor forest produce cannot be taken from the forest. These are the people who are living since ages here. Now who are you to impose these restrictions? So there will be a kind of violent protest from them. Okay, so if these things happen, then again you can link this thing to the Maoism. So they will come. Okay, they will say these people are anti-development. These people are pro-bourgeois class. Bourgeois means okay, pro-capitalist class. Bourgeois. Okay, so these people will come and they'll try to brainwash the people. So it is very important. We also need to focus on the local people. We also need to focus on the bottom-up approach. So that's why they have come up with a new act called Forest Rights Act, where local communities have been given rights, and we have made a provision that there will be a Gram Sabha. Gram Sabha means whoever person is more than 18 years, they will be part of the Gram Sabha. Whoever is more than 80 years, who can vote. So basically, it's a kind of a group of elders. So we have in this Forest Right Act, we have given more power to the Gram Sabha. So Gram Sabha can decide on various things, whether the people who are present there, okay, what kind of rights the people should get there. What kind of, if let's say now you all guys are living in the forest, individually you have certain rights, and as a whole community you have certain rights. In the same way, what kind of rights? Can I sell the things that I am purchasing, that I am taking from the forest and get the money? So do I get the property rights in that area? Do I get the ownership on the area? So what kind of rights are there? And who is going to decide? So Gram Sabha has been given majority of the powers. Gram Sabha is a local body. Okay, so we are trying to decentralize the governance. Democracy, we are trying to strengthen it. So this was the thing. But this is on the paper. So what kind of things? See here, Forest Rights Act, recognition of the rights. To recognize and invest forest rights and occupation in the forest land in the forest dwelling scheduled tribes. Okay, so who is going to implement this act? One important point, Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Since it is scheduled tribes, so Ministry of Tribal Affairs will be implementing this thing. And other traditional forest dwellers. Forest dwellers means who are traditionally living there, who have been residing in such forest for generation. Correcting the historical injustice. You need to remember these keywords. You will use these keywords for writing the main answer. Is correcting the historical injustice. Even the reservations that are provided, what is the justification? Correcting the historical injustice. Since ages, these people were left behind. Okay, so in order to provide them some kind of boost, support them, some kind of affirmative action, special action, so that there is a kind of equality. Okay, because currently they are not at the same level playing field as the others. So some kind of extra support. So this is a historical justice, and also enhanced livelihoods, community empowerment. So what kind of rights? Individual rights. So for the self-cultivation, for the livelihood purpose, community rights as a whole to the community, you have given a right to use a minor forest produce, grazing is allowed, some kind of activities are allowed. And then community forest resource rights. To protect, the local people are given the rights to protect the local area, to cover, to do the preservation works in the local area. So these are the three primary rights. But it's not that this is mine, so I will sell the property, the forest lands. Okay, you cannot do them. Do that thing. You can stay in that area, you can utilize that area, but you cannot sell the land. Okay, considering this is mine, you cannot sell the land. This is in the theory. See here, eligibility, scheduled tribes and the traditional forest dwellers who have been residing in the forest for at least 75 years will be getting these rights. Now you need to think, okay, how can the person prove that I am living here for 75 years? Okay, generally very few people will have the proper documents and all. So 75 years back, what kind of documents they can provide? So here itself there is a strong challenge, strong loopholes. Okay, not maybe many of your friends do not have the proper PAN card also, proper license and passport also. General population who is working and all, even these people lack certain documents. Now you can imagine the scenario of the tribal areas. Okay, where they have to submit that they have been residing this year in the 75 years. The process of the rights recognition will be decentralized. Gram Sabhas will be involved. So basically, it is expected that Gram Sabha's ward should be accepted. So these are the local community. They will be able to say, right, you will anyway recognize who are your friends and all. So in the same way, Gram Sabha people, since they are together, they will say, yes, we know their parents, their forefathers, they are all part of this thing. So that's how we utilize this local services. Okay, so then they will inform it to the district level committees, and then finally central government will decide. Okay, then rights over the minor forest produce will be given to them, and they will not be forced eviction from that area. In order to protect the forest, you cannot say these people has to leave their places, because we have discussed the national parks. In the national parks, I have told you there are core areas. In the core areas, no human activity is allowed. Only in the buffer areas, human activities are allowed. Okay, this thing we have discussed. Under the protected areas, you have the national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, biosphere reserves, these things. Okay, and also community reserves are there. Okay, so let me just revise you for this thing. What do you have under the protected areas? National parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and the community reserves. Apart from this, you also have the biosphere reserves. Okay, these three you get the legal recognition from the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Legally, okay, you get the recognition for this thing. So these have the statutory backing. This does not have the statutory backing, and you have the biosphere reserves that are recognized by the India, and some of the biosphere reserves are recognized by the UNESCO. Okay, so all these areas will have the core area. Okay, and then you have the buffer area. Okay, so in the core area, no activity is allowed. In the buffer area, some these kind of activities like grazing and all is allowed. So now you cannot remove these people from this area, saying that we are conserving the forest. So to protect them only, now they have the Forest Rights Act. But this is everything on the theory. On paper, so whoever the forest rights officials are there, they do not accept it. Now forest guards are there, so they are going some not in a harmony with the local tribal dwellers. They are always opposing their rights. Always they say, okay, this is the area where local people cannot enter. So there is a kind of disturbance that are happening there. And this law is implemented by the state government. Central government will give the guidelines. State government will implement, and there is discrepancy in the implementation by the various state governments. Some state governments are not implementing it properly. So that's why central government now recently has established at the district level various cells, so that these cells do the proper implementation. If I am a tribal person, if I say these are the rights I am supposed to get, so these cells will verify the authenticity of those rights. Say if they do not have the documents, these cells will support them. So funding is also being provided by the central government. Every district, I guess somewhere around 8 lakhs are being provided. So so in the not 8 lakhs, overall in the state it is 8 lakhs. Okay, so like this for every state they are trying to provide it with the proper funding. These things are being monitored to the proper implementation. So what are the other problems? When this act was implemented, some of the people are always opposing it because the local people are damaging the environment. Now we need to do the development. Some infrastructure project we have to construct there. Dam we have to construct there. Like say you can recall the Arunachal Pradesh, which dam we were talking about back then? Dam on which river? Siang. Don't forget. Okay, revise. On the Arunachal Pradesh, Siang, Brahmaputra river only. Okay, we call it as a Siang river. Okay, so there we are constructing the dam. Now the local people, traditional developers, we have discussed then one tribal group is opposing it. Okay, so now they say this thing. Okay, the people who are promoting the development, they'll say development will be affected because you are giving so many rights to the local. So this is from the development perspective. Environmental perspective, they also oppose it. Apart from this, there is a conflict between the forest officials, district officials, and the local tribal dwellers. This is another problem. Lack of implementation, bureaucratic apathy is there, and Gram Sabha is not well empowered to take the proper decisions. Even they are not aware of their rights, these kind of rights. So if someone forces them, okay, you cannot use these things and all, they will give up. So there is all the points that is required for your GS2. Everything is there here till today. Whatever the news that have been, see many things that have been rejected due to lack of proper thing. See, you have a topic called role of civil society NGOs. So here comes the role of civil society and NGOs. You have the topic mentioned under the heading role of developmental industries. Developmental industries means now there is a gap between the government and the tribal groups. So who will bridge that gap? So a civil society, a NGO will work there. They will teach these tribal groups, these are the rights you have. If these rights are violated, you can go to these courts. So there are many NGOs working in the tribal areas, in the forest areas, providing them awareness. Everything cannot be done by the government. They do not have the necessary machinery. Their main role is to provide the development, to not even the provide development, to facilitate the development. This is the right word, to facilitate the development. They alone cannot provide the development. They are facilitating necessary environment to provide the development through proper policy, through proper regulation, through proper monitoring. So, in order to bridge that gap, so to facilitate the development, who has to do the development? Private player has to come. Who has to bring the awareness? Who has to bring the do the groundwork? NGOs, civil societies has to come. So this way, your NGOs and civil societies also come into the picture. We have not taken any thing, but I have tried to link. Okay, so your questions might have generated in your mind already how these things will be implemented on the ground level, how these things move forward. So when you get these kind of doubts, then you have to link. Okay, many NGOs and civil societies also working here. Okay. So administrative challenges, all those things. So whenever I try to write points, I'll try to at least generate 6-7 points. If it is 10 marker question, you should write 10 points. Okay, if it is 15 marker question, 15 points at least. Okay, so the more points, definitely more marks. Okay, so but those more points should be qualitative. It's not that you are randomly writing anything, unwanted points. Relevant points, always you need both quality as well as the quantity. In every exam, be it a state exam, UPSC, quantity plus quality. For suppose it is 15 marker, you are writing only one page. You are believing that you are written the good content. No, you are not. You don't get the marks. So that's why I am generating more points and providing it to you here. Now see here, recent escalation of the conflicts we have discussed. Okay, so why is this thing? So can you guys tell me why the Iran is at its weakest? Who are the major powers? So first tell me the reasons why the Iran is weakest. Domestic reason. What is the domestic reason? Why there is instability? Yeah, there is lack of support to the government. There is instability because unemployment. Why do people protest? There is high unemployment. There is high price rise. Inflation is at the highest. Okay, so youth are not satisfied. Youth is against the orthodox government. And why these things are happening? Why there is lack of jobs? Why there is inflation? Why these things are happening? Because Western countries have already imposed the sanctions. So trade with the Iran has been reduced by various countries. So because of this thing, investment has gone down. So only when there is a stable environment, there will be investment. This is what they expected. That's why they have imposed the sanctions. Okay, so trade has went down. Everything they are struggling. And is Iran always anti-West from the beginning, since the beginning of their independence? I told you, in the 1970s, there was an Islamic revolution. Only then the government has turned totally orthodox. They became anti-West. Before that, Iran was pro-USA. Okay, there were many embassies of the USA present, many diplomats of the USA were present in the Iran. Okay, after this only there was a hostage crisis. I told you, they have, after this thing, they have captured the USA people as a hostages. Okay, USA hostage crisis in the Iran. Okay, after 1978, Islamic revolution has happened. And the Iran is strong supporter of the Palestine. So that's why they even oppose the existence of the Israel itself. They don't even allow the existence of the Israel. Okay, they don't even believe in the two states. There should be one state. That is the Palestine. There should not be Israel. So Israel and Iran totally anti. So that's why Iran also supports Which group in the Palestine? Hamas. And there is in the north of your Palestine or in the Israel, there is one more country called the Lebanon. There another group. Which group? Which group is that? Armed group? Hezbollah. Okay, Iran also supports them. And then in the Yemen, there is another group, Houthis. Iran used to support them. All these people together, they used to attack the Israel. Along with them, previously, so far recently, even Syria. In the Syria, there used to be a Shia regime and they used to also attack the Israel. But scenarios have changed. Israel have attacked the Hamas. Hamas is at its weakest. For 1 year, since very long 1 year, they are attacking Hamas continuously. Hamas is at its weakest. They have killed the top commanders of the Hezbollah. And Syria regime change. Now there is no Shia government, there is a Sunni government. Sunni government is against the Iran because Iran is a Shia government. There is always conflict in the Middle East between the Shia and the Sunni. Even Saudi Arabia do not support the Iran because Saudi Arabia is a Sunni country. Okay, so there is always that political struggle existing even within the Islamic group of countries. They are against this Iran because Iran is a Shia. So even Iran is not totally pro-Pakistan because Pakistan is also a Sunni country. Okay, so these things are happening now. The Iran is at its weakest. So while these things were happening, okay, previously few years back, Barack Obama time period, they made a nuclear deal with the Iran. Okay, as per the deal, along with the USA, some P5 countries have also participated. Then they made a deal that they will restrict the uranium enrichment to less than some 5%, which can be used only for the power generation purposes. This should not be used for any kind of enrichment which can be used for the making bombs. So, but however, Trump government believed that this agreement is not that strong. Still, Iran is doing the enrichment. This has not covered the ballistic missiles. So he has withdrawn from the agreement. So he was trying to negotiate new deal with the Iran. This process was going on. And which is the body that used to monitor whether the enrichment is happening or not? IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, a specialized agency which is taking care whether there is a enrichment of uranium happening or not. Recently, they have released a report, the enrichment is happening. So, ideally, USA is involved in the deal and negotiations has to happen. But meanwhile, Israel has bombed them. So, now this makes process very much difficult. So, obviously, Iran will retaliate. Okay. So, now we do not know how far it will escalate. What will happen in the scenario. So, if this thing happens, so if you can see here, so these are the, now they can ask. So, just have little bit idea about this Fordo, Natanz. Okay, these are the nuclear sites. Okay, just have some idea about this nuclear sites. They can ask, these are the locations in the news recently. Which country? Okay, so that's why they have provided. So, if any kind of damage happens to these nuclear sites, radiations might come out. This can be a potential challenge. Now, this can lead to whole crisis in the Middle East. Now, Iran will also retaliate. So, when the two persons' animosity increases, animosity between two countries, how can you bring them to the table? Israel has unilaterally attacked. Now, it is very difficult, okay, to bring some kind of talks and negotiations. How can any country attack the other country unilaterally? It was not approved. If you have any country has to approve attack, it has to be generally go through the process of UN. Okay, there is a UNSC. So ideally, that has to the UNSC. That is a body that will approve. Okay, there should be attack on this nation. But unilaterally, this country has attacked. Now, this can have many global implications. Now, what kind of implications that can be there on India? Can you guys think? What is the prime implication on India? This is how you will study. You think at least give me 3 reasons what can be the implications on India. Oil prices will rise. Okay, because we import good amount of oil from the West Asia and primarily from the Iran. What is the next point? Think. We have heavily invested in the Chabahar port. Our infrastructure projects will suffer. Right? Through Iran, we are making a corridor through which we can enter into the Europe INSTC corridor. Not just the Chabahar, even your INST corridor will suffer. Then what else? What more points? What more points? Think of what kind of dilemmas India might face. whom to support. Maintaining the proper foreign policy can be very difficult. Now, if you have seen, India has not made a proper stand. Okay, we have absent, we have taken, we did not participate in the voting regarding the Gaza issue. Okay, so it is very difficult for us to take a stand. Even Iran is also important for us. Israel is also important for us. Okay, so it becomes very difficult for the India to take a stand between two countries. If we take a anti-Iran stand, then we might get affected. If we take anti-Israel stand, then again Israel is a all-time partner for you. Okay, so when the Pakistan is doing all these things, Israel is the only country always support India. I have mentioned this thing already. Okay, so it is a very tricky stand. These are the three major concerns for the India. So again, this can also reduce the investments in India because inflation can happen, price rises, instability that can push some kind of uncertainty to the India. These things can also happen. So if you can see here, okay, here you have the Strait of Hormuz, very important. Okay, they will ask you in the prelims. Okay, here this is the narrow pass. We have already discussed about the various straits. We have discussed Kerch Strait, okay, Malacca Strait, okay, and then Sunda Strait, then Lombok Strait. Okay, we have discussed these things. Now this is a Strait of Hormuz, very important. I am also giving you one more assignment. Check where is the Strait of Gibraltar. Strait of Gibraltar, that is also mentioned, important. Okay, Strait of the Gibraltar, that has to be mentioned. Okay, now from these narrow passes, whatever the imports that we do from the Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, our majority of the trade passes through this thing. Now if anything happens and if Iran blocks these passages, so we are going to struggle a lot. Strait of the Hormuz, okay, that is a narrow passage present in the Gulf region. So you need to see, Iran is bordering which country? Here there is a Turkmenistan. Okay, here you have the Caspian Sea. Okay, here you have the Turkey. Here you have the Iraq. Just see the idea. Okay, here you have the Afghanistan. Okay, so have the proper clarity on the map. Okay, so in this way they can ask you the mapping questions as well. So these are the issues I have given. So now what has happened? So they have Israel has attacked them. They will not ask you why the Israel has recently when it has attacked, what is the date? Okay, how many areas it has bombed? No, they will ask you in the main broader thing. What is happening there? What kind of implications India might face? What can be the global implications? Nuclear radiation exposures. Okay, the death of the people. Okay, so this can also polarize the world. Now Iran, Pakistan, not Pakistan, Russia, China axis. On the other side, USA and the Israel axis. So okay, this kind of axis, Cold War, new wars, arms race. So these kind of implications globally. Food crisis, we have already seen so many problems in the West Asia, in the Sudan and all. So now this can be another problem that is going to rise and it can hamper the growth rate, world GDP and all, right? So that is the way that you have to study this thing. So all those things that we have discussed, that is given here. Now what is this black box? See here I have discussed this black box. So basically it is a black, mentioned as a black box, but this is not a black color. Okay, it will have a different color, orange color. It was developed by the Australian scientist David in the 1950s. They are very strong. Okay, they are present at the back side of the aircraft. So even if there is any kind of accident, if there is a heavy fire, okay, if your aircraft is missing in the deep ocean also, in the deep ocean the pressure of the water will be very high. Do you know this? Okay, you might have seen this movie in the Gazi movie also. They will show you. If any submarine goes little deeper, a submarine can get blasted because all the water weight is being added. Now here you also have some weight, that is the atmospheric weight. There is some weight. Okay, when you go deep into the ocean, you have the water weight also. You cannot swim deep inside. You don't think, okay, I'm a great swimmer. Okay, so if you don't take proper precautions and if you dive 10 feet, 15 feet deeper, there will be pressure and definitely it will cause a lot of effect on you. You will bleed. Okay, so be careful. So now you can imagine if any kind of accident happens and if the aircraft sinks deeper, still the black box will not be damaged. It can withstand huge pressure. It can also withstand huge amount of fire. It is fire resistant, and it is important because it has two things in this: flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder. Any kind of discussions, conversations, it will be recorded, and also flight data recorded, various parameters such as altitude, speed, heading, how it is heading and all, everything will be properly recorded. So this is there in the black box. That is the factual information that can be asked in the prelims probably. Okay. And then we need to study about the promotion of the oil palm cultivation in the Telangana. So palm oil, okay, it is used in the breads, biscuits, everything, all the food industry. So though it is not healthy, but still there is so much demand. So all the eateries where you eat, okay, there is heavily using the oil palm. So you can see the demand. India do not have the necessary of palm oil, so they'll import. Okay, everywhere, wherever you eat, so majority they'll be using the palm oil, which can increase your cholesterol. Okay, possibility of the heart attacks, saturated fat, everything. Okay, so the cardiovascular health and all, everything will be problematic. Okay, the trans fat and all. So now here, since we are importing a lot and we do not have the production, basically all the production comes from the southern states, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and the Kerala. Okay, so you need to be aware that we import palm oil. Okay, this is we import largest import of the vegetable oil, including the palm oils. Primarily, we import palm oil from the Indonesia and the Malaysia, and then we also import the soya bean. This is a vegetable oil. All vegetable oils are bad for your health. Okay, you can easily ignore. Okay, so Argentina, Brazil, and the United States, you will import the soya bean oil, sunflower oil. Okay, very good marketing tactics. Sunflower oil, Safola is good for your health. That can cause a lot of damage. Okay, so the unnecessary information on Instagram and all, they'll say, no, go for the refined oil. Animal fat is bad. Okay, ghee is bad and all. They'll say nonsense. They do not know why they want to, just for the purpose of the views and likes, they will say all the nonsense. Okay, sunflower oil is not good for the heart because they say it's a refined oil, so it can withstand. No, ghee is those things which we traditionally we use these things in India. Ghee, coconut oil, these are much more stable to the heat. Okay, so at once period of time when it was in the 90s. Okay, so at those days sunflower oil became very famous. Okay, and this sunflower oil also, it is not produced much in India. We import it from the Ukraine and the Russia. So now when there is Ukraine crisis, the price of the sunflower oil increases, and this is also increasing our current account deficit because we are importing so many things. When we import, what do we pay them? Rupee? Dollars. We pay them dollars. So dollar is going out. When the dollar goes out, so demand for the dollar is increasing than the rupee. So more dollar is going out. That means value of the rupee will, if the value of the dollar is increasing, the value of the rupee will decrease. Rupee depreciation happens. So this also puts pressure on our forex reserves. So that's why very important to protect our dollars. Okay, to maintain our forex reserves, we have to do the cultivation of vegetable oils in India. Okay, now because of the people like me only who are going against these oils, the price of the coconut oil is increasing. Okay, we have discussed this thing. Prices of coconut oil, the consumer awareness is increasing, more demand and all. So since climate factors and all, and one factor is, yes, I'm also playing the role. Okay, promoting this coconut oil and the ghee. Okay, these things should not be consumed. Okay, so government, they are trying to promote this, take this palm oil. We have the palm oil, national palm oil measure, especially in the northeastern India and also in the Andaman and Nicobar area. Okay, they are doing a mission, national mission on palm oil, because this is what people are consuming. Government has to grow. Why to import things? Okay, so government is also promoting this thing, and we are also taking up the national oil seeds mission. We are the largest importer and consumer of these oil seeds and the palm oils. Okay, and we are also largest importer of the pulses also. Pulses I can understand, they are really good for your health. Pulses means dal. Okay, we are also largest importer of the pulses. That is really good for the environment. Production of the pulses. Okay, not vegetable oils. Okay, so these are the things: palm oil, soya oil, sunflower oil, from where we are importing, that have given. So this palm oil, not just for the eating purposes, they are also used in the industries. That is fine. In the industrial applications, even as a biofuels, you can use. What are biofuels? Whatever the fuels currently we use are the fossil fuels. Fossil fuels means live matter, organic matter. It is there. Okay, so we burn them. These are called the fossils. Fossils means dead remains. You burn them, the dead remains consists of the carbon in them. Okay, so then you will get the energy. When you burn them, heat is released, that heat is used. But in this process, carbon dioxide is also released. This is the fossil fuels, but they are causing destruction to the environment. So why to burn them? So we use organic things, biofuel. Okay, solid, liquid, gaseous fuels that are being generated from the bio residues. some kind of organic material, like say your oil seeds, any kind of sugary items. If you generate fuel from the sugar items, then it is called a bioethanol. If you generate fuel from the oil seeds, okay, then it's called the biodiesel. Through the process of transesterification, you will generate the fuel from the oil seeds. Okay, that is called the biodiesel. You have two things: biodiesel, bioethanol, and the biogas, which are collectively called as a biofuel. Okay, so one of the biofuel is using the oil seeds, where you will generate the diesel, biodiesel. Bioethanol means from the compounds which has a sugar. There you will primarily using the sugar. Here you are primarily using the oil for the biodiesel. So this can also promote our biofuels. We can also reduce our dependence. So that's why we have the National Palm Oil Mission, National Mission on Oil Seeds. Okay, and then we are also providing subsidies and infrastructure development. But the challenge is this can provide us health problems, and also it is not environment friendly. These palm oil require a lot of water. We have already discussed India is facing the water crisis. Now again, you will use this thing. Okay, whatever the content is, you have to pick the content from different places, and you will use it as per the demand of the question. Basically, you consider this UPSC preparation as like a kind of art of cooking. And the cooking, okay, you know what ingredients work well. Okay, what is the spices? What are the spices? How you do overall spicing and all. Okay, and then that masala and all. So now you will try various things. Okay, say if I want biryani, you will cook it in different way. If I ask you just okay, dal, you will cook this, you use ingredients and you will cook it in different way. In the same way, here also, all the content is like a raw material for you. Depending upon the question that is asked, there itself you will cook. That's how you will show your creativity in the answer. Some questions will be direct, some will be static, but majority will be applied. You have to utilize your knowledge from the different areas. Okay, that will come only when you are thinking. That's why I'm asking you the question. Think, what can be the global implication? Think, what can be this implication? Think. Okay, so you will be able to link things from the current affairs everywhere. Then you will give the beautiful answer, which is not the textbook answer. Definitely, your answer will be appreciated. You will get the very good marks. So those are the main important articles. Now we have made a deal with the Japan previously that our India's, in order to explore the rare earth materials, we have the IREL. This is a public sector company. We have discussed this thing previously also. They used to sell some of the rare earth elements to the Japan. Now we want to make some kind of changes in the deal, because we ourselves are facing the constraints in the rare earth. So we want to make changes. In the same way, this is the only that article that have been given. Now we are also in discussion with the China. In discussion with the China, we are discussing various things with the China. So we are trying to re-engage with the China. Previously, our relationships with the China has slightly affected under the 2020 time period. Okay, due to the various border issues and all. So now we are trying to restart dialogues with the China. So we have resumption of the direct flights and the visa services. Kailash Manasarovar Yatra, previously this yatra was closed. We used to go through the other route, okay, from the Nepal and all. Okay, this from if you go through the access from the China, then it is very easy. So many pilgrimages have also suffered. Now the same route has been opened. So we are involving the bilateral meetings, and we are also sharing hydrological data regarding the Brahmaputra. Okay, so we are negotiating the talks. Okay, and then supply chain predictability, especially of the rare earth metals. So we are in the discussion stages. In the same way, India and the France also, we have already discussed. We have counter-terrorism, space and nuclear cooperation. I think we have already discussed. So we are discussing with the France counterpart to take these relationships forward. So nothing much from this. So most of your newspaper was already this thing. So whatever the editorial, their editorial is on the Israel and Iran. So I have consolidated everything at one place. All those editorials I have given that thing. So that's all for today. So revise the content. So we have so this is the thing I was talking about. India abstains from the Gaza ceasefire resolution in the United Nations General Assembly. Okay, for the 4th time in the 3 years. So these are the things. Any other question? So if you see, okay, in the current affairs, things has to become easy for you as you progress. The revision should be very easy. So when next time you study, so most of the things you have already studied. Okay, so you will think, for the person who is not studied properly in the year-all basis, for them the current affairs for the 1 year it looks 5,000 papers every month, 400, 300 papers. Okay, 300, and by the time of the 10 months it is 5,000. But for you, it is just 50, 100 pages, because most of the things are overlapping, just a little bit progress. So if you properly prepare for 1 year, so you won't study for 5,000 pages. You will study only 100 pages, because just a little bit addition. You need not be doing everything. Okay. So I hope Iran issue is clear. Nuclear deal issue is clear. So why the various map issues are clear. Okay. And FRA Act is clear. So that's all for today. We'll see again tomorrow. We'll meet in the next class. That is on the Monday.